Drinking any water is equal to hydration. That is the biggest myth. You need to have the right water. That is what is equal to hydration.
Now you're throwing a new perspective on water. Can you share some light on that?
So look at this like a blotting paper. So there is water on the table, and let's say you're just using a sponge or a blotting paper, and it just gets absorbed. Correct? You just take a normal paper, does it get absorbed?
No.
Now look at your cell. Where is that? Your cell today is like that normal paper. It is not able to absorb. It has to become like the sponge, or the blotting paper. For that you need to give the right water in this case. And all this by simply using a device.
A simple device which changes the alignment of water.
And he says the dosage of the drugs, he could bring it down to 1/4.
The carrier of drug, of food, of supplement is water. Because if you can't do diet, you can't do exercise, at least change the water that you're drinking. Today's episode is going to challenge something we have never really questioned: the water we drink. We obsess over diets, supplements, gym routines, but the one thing that enters every single cell of our body, we barely even think about it. Generations ago, our grandparents drank straight from wells and ponds and somehow stayed healthier. Today, even with advanced purification, millions in India struggle with so many illnesses. So something's missing, not in how clean the water is, but in how well it actually hydrates us at a cellular level. This conversation is about that missing piece, the science, the energy, and the alignment of water that modern systems may have stripped away. Today, we're breaking down what true hydration means, how water behaves inside your cells, and how changing the quality of water you drink can shift your energy, your digestion, your skin, and your overall health. So let's literally dive into this water science. Many thanks to the universe, as always. Got to give thanks to the creator of the universe, whether you want to call him the Lord, the creator, Bhagwan, Allah, or just the good Lord. I want to give thanks for where I am today with my team, with my company, with my people, and the opportunities that grace our presence and our ways. JIVA Water. Walking in an exhibition, a voice in my head said, "What's that? Go to that stall." Went and checked it out, and I was like, I understand water. It's the giver of life. We are 70% water. And I remember speaking to a young lady saying that, ask your founder to get in touch with me, because this is something that the world needs to know about. And 7 months later, 7 is my lucky number, we're sitting in this podcast today. So Mr. Srinivas, as one of the co-founders in JIVA Water, thank you for making the time. I want to understand the story today. And blessings to you, your family, your partners, your staff, and everyone, because better are hands that heal than lips that pray is a statement on a mug given by a good friend of mine, Dr. Ali Rani. She says, those of us who practice in the art of healing people, you with JIVA Water, me with Kwa Nutrition Clinics, I think if we can get our messages and stories out there, even if one person benefits from not having a heart attack tomorrow and turns up for his granddaughter's graduation, I think you and I can rest easy in life. So welcome to my podcast, Mr. Srinivasan.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much, Ryan. So actually, indeed, it's a pleasure for me to be here. So I kind of belong in the zamana, where there was no digital and technology. So hence for me, when you said you walked into the fair and the team came and said, no, Sir Ryan Fernando came. And I said, who's Ryan Fernando? So that is my background, right? But so glad to be here. You couldn't have said a few things rightly to start off this conversation, Ryan, because universe. So me and Dr. Krishna, we are the ones who started JIVA. We always said this, that leave it to the universe. I think universe is the guiding force. And the whole aspect, even naming it JIVA, right? Naming our device JIVA also comes from there. I think there is something deeper that we need to explore, which is what we'll all talk about. But that one person, I have those 1% stories already, right? Many of them. I am actually looking for that 1%. Maybe there's going to be you, because we need the right people to start taking this across the society, and that's what I'm looking forward to, and looking forward to this chat.
So today I want to set context in terms of human body is 70% water approximately. And as a nutritionist, I believe that we need to understand first the power of water. But before we understand the power of water, what is the story of water today? So I have a few questions because you're probably spent the last decade and a half only understanding H2O, which is water, from its holy perspective to its unholy perspective. So, I remember a few generations ago, very faint memories when I was young, grandmother's house, which her father built. So my great grandfather built, and there was a well, and they said that well never ran dry. It had a spring at the bottom. And I remember pulling water with the rope, the coir rope, and then having that cold bath over there in the village. And we did this maybe once or twice a year as city people. And that water tasted so sweet. And people were drinking out of wells and the ponds and all directly without falling sick. But today, in my house, I purify even my bath water. So, what has really changed in the quality or the energy of water that has made now the shift necessary in today's world?
So first thing is, since you said you bathed from a well, right? I did too.
Okay.
So in fact, my granddad from Bangalore, so there was a well at home, and we used to just go there, same thing, baltimilelo, and then put it on the head. But coming to that second question of yours, the answer is here. What changed is here, right?
The mind?
Absolutely. See, the same you, if you can question yourself, what changed in you, it is all in the mind. We are slowly getting more and more logically, wounded, right? So this is becoming the problem, right? Too much of, I would dare to say, this is too much of linear science and Western education.
Linear science and Western education.
Yeah.
Okay,
So,
expand, please.
So actually, go back. Let's discuss education before we jump to water. How did the so-called wisdom? So my favorite line, Ryan, is we traded our wisdom for knowledge. And what I mean by that, wisdom means you learnt by doing. You don't swim by telling that, your arm should go at 62.5 degree, and then you jump in it. You'll never swim. You jump and maybe analysis will tell you this is what happened.
That's wisdom.
Exactly. So that is the doing. So hence, the well bit is what we did, right? And we never cared about pH and TDS, right? But slowly, so science, I'm a science student, and everything was taken into silo, right? And every silo was research, and so much so that we started hooking ourselves into that silo, we lost the big picture. So hence the gradual deterioration, if I can say, taking water from a well and a river and bringing it into a bottle is our claim to fame. And today we are solving for that, saying, what went wrong. I mean, this is absolutely unbelievable to me. But that is, so to me, but this is the mind side. But if you look at water, the whole fertilizer pesticide revolution, I don't know if you know that this started post Second World War, right? There was that Orange Revolution, blah, blah, that. So there is when this started. So what did we do? We started messing up the soils. Now water, the rivers and the flows are touching the soil, right? So automatically they're getting contaminated. So the contamination weakens the water across flow. Hence, necessitates over purification. Then we apply our intelligence and start over purifying it. So much so, we are just keeping on purifying the water to death. This is in summary. So hence, compounded by linear Western education, along with this contamination over purification of water, I think is a Bhagavad Gita unto itself.
So in India, the stats say about 37.7 million people are affected by waterborne diseases. We're still seeing huge numbers today. I mean, what does this reveal about water hygiene in our infrastructure today?
Same thing, right? If you relate what we just spoke, so if all the purification we did was true, right? So we are today, what is the buzzwords? PhD, publishing a paper, peer review, and all these are big words, right? You talk about the large institutions of this world. And it's not 1 or 2 years, it's all decades. Why are we in this state today? What did you solve? So now if you go back, this is where I'm connecting both my questions, right? If you still have so many people waterborne diseases, then what have you actually achieved? So which is implying internally that there is an answer built in, that we are doing things wrong. We have forgotten that water is a medium. Water is not end unto itself. The receiver of water is a cell, receiver of the water is the soil, receiver of our body, plant, animal. Now, are they happy? We have forgotten. We are measuring water. But if you see here, the United Nations, not me, says that 30, 40 years of life left for soil. Then what are you measuring water? So aren't we making a mistake that you're measuring the same thing, but you're not achieving the result?
So the water is often with these heavy metals, microbes, and synthetic contaminants. In fact, yesterday I was doing my washing and I was like, oh, the detergent I'm using, it's supposed to be biodegradable. But then my shirt didn't come out clean. So then I was using one whitener on the thing, but that's not biodegradable. So I was feeling like, am I contaminating the environment? So what I want to ask you is that how does contaminated water impact us at the cellular level, maybe in terms of hydration, absorption, or detoxification?
So the point is, we let the cell decide what it wants. Let us not decide what it wants. And this has been proven. But for your question, this is my answer that, contaminants, we are making a mistake by deciding. But I am not saying let us completely ignore because of the current contaminations, but let us not overdo it. Do your basic filtrations, get it to a point, and after that, let the energetics take care. When cell gets the energy, naturally contaminants get purged.
So as you were speaking, I was hooked onto this word energetics of water. Now, in my college days, water is 0 calorie, right? So when I went into the Guinness World Record of non-stop aerobics, the lady had to break 26 hours. She had to work out for 26 hours. Protein, carbs, fats, vitamins, minerals. This is what we nutritionists know. But the carrier of all of this is water, body 70% water. So the question I ask myself is, how can I get the best water into my client such that she doesn't have an issue when these elements are carried through to her? And that began my journey. So I understand scalar energy, energetics, piezoelectricity, etc., etc. But for my audience out there, I want them to understand, what do you mean by energetics of water?
Let's ask this question. Let's not get too complicated. We are drinking water to accomplish. We want the water to do something, right? You can say hydrate, you can say detox, whatever you want to say. You want the water to do something, which means the water needs to be alive. It has to respond, right? That alive is what we are talking about. And this has been measured, right? We will come to the measurements probably later. This has been measured that over purification has taken away these energies of water. Now, hence, in the name of water, my premise is that you're drinking liquid, which does not have the ability to hydrate. Right? This is the message that needs to go right across to understand water needs to be alive, not purification. Right? You can be bathed clean, you can be dressed well, and you may be dead. That is the water we are drinking today. So we are cosmetically great, but energetically depleted and poor.
A nice line, cosmetically. Great. I think we look at the lens of the world just on looks, but not dive deeper. Speaking of diving deeper, if water were restored to its pure and natural state, right, the way it's meant to be, how do you see it changing early symptoms of, let's say, lifestyle disorders and overall health?
I am tempted to touch upon. So actually, I was also like any of us, right? It's not that I just. Dr. Krishna may be an exempt. I think he lived his life in this space. But I was like, all right, I wanted to have bottled water, thinking it's clean, till my perception changed. Reason why I'm doing Jiva, right, as an impact for society. But the point is, the role of water from an energetic perspective is what is completely lost today. Now, initially, when we started giving this, the Jiva devices, right? The Jiva Water devices, the first feedbacks is what gave me this change happenings. So I'll tell you this. A friend of mine, this may be an interesting point which will answer your question too. A friend of mine, IT senior person, Bangalore, she called me one day. She was my friend's sister. So she said, Srini, your friend called me and he said, Srini is starting some Jiva or something. Pick it up, start using it, because the mother was Parkinson's.
Okay.
Parkinson's, brain surgery, externally controlled, current. So she calls me. She says, Srini, I'm using her words. I'm fed up of RO, right? I mean, she went on, but she said, I don't know, you're doing some device, I understand. I don't care what it is. Just give it to me. I'm going to use it. If it is good, I'll say it is good. If it is not good, I'll say it's not good. Straightforward. I said, sure. So she bought one. 4 months, actually, I forgot about it. 4 months later, this is what she said. She called me. Starting statement, Srini, where were you 4 years ago? It answered it all. She said, I mean, this is a huge story, but I'll just keep it short. She said that they saw major changes. I'm talking about in 4 months. After that, in about a year, they never stopped. So one of the big things, first thing is gut health. Gut health, she said she couldn't take green chili. And she said she would flare up for more than 10 days. She said that got resolved when she had by mistake a green chili based thing, and then it changed. From there, she went on to say, I mean, you would know this well, they were at a point where the current being administered, something like 1.9, I don't remember the correct numbers, milliamp or something like that.
To stimulate the brain cell.
Correct.
Had to be lowered.
And yeah, exactly. So she said the problem was, if they went 0.1 up, she said she was getting tremors. If they went 0.1 down, she said the muscles were freezing. He says, we were so terribly stuck. We didn't know what to do. And one day, this guy calls me and he says, Sri, do you know what the current number is, that we are giving my mother? He said 1.4, 1.9 to 1.4. And I didn't understand. They were numbers to me. But he said, Srini, it is unbelievably huge. And he says the dosage of the drugs, he could bring it down to 1/4. These are huge testimonies. So this just comes back to round up your question, Ryan, that when the cell is well, everything is well, right? For that, we need to give the right water.
So yeah, even as a nutritionist, I don't claim to be a doctor and I don't understand a lot of things, but I can echo with the current coming down, because recently my dad has undergone 2 prostate surgeries. And before the surgery, a year ago, he had done his urine flow. And I had put him on JIVA Water. Now, for the uninitiated out there, JIVA Water is this stainless steel device where you pour the water through and it flows through. And as what Mr. Srini, one of the co-founders, says is, I believe I use the term, it bioenergizes the water. I don't know if that term could be right or wrong. You correct me later. So I've been giving JIVA Water to my dad, and when the urine flow had to happen prior to his prostate, it had actually improved. So this comes from tenets of understanding the energy of water in the Guinness World Record when I used a device to enhance sports performance. And ever since then, people are always in awe that how does the world go to Ryan Fernando for their medals? Is he giving some secret element? But you have to understand that even drug medication coming down, the carrier of drug, of food, of supplement is water. And so for Jiva, where was this science coming through? How did it happen?
So first I'm going to echo Krishna's words, right?
Okay.
So Krishna says, Srini, what we have built with Jiva, right? The stainless steel device. He said, Jiva is an Apple and Tesla for water. That kind of sums it up in terms of what it is doing and what even it can do for the society.
But it's very easy to make such claims, no?
Exactly.
Like I'll say Ryan Fernando is the apple of dietitians. What is the proof
Exactly.
that is there?
So we have enough on, first is the philosophy, then the outcomes as testified by people. I am talking about all segments. It's not just drinking, bathing, let's say household, right? Drinking, bathing, all of that. But agriculture, cattle, poultry, fisheries, industry, scaling reduction, all of that we have. And we have the science. I will touch upon science, but before that, the point was, the question that was coming was, what is changing in water? Right? This is the question you're also asking, saying you're passing water through a tube, and what changed in water? Now, my initial, so I was struggling with this question myself, right? Until recently, when research was done in the Czech University of Life Sciences in Prague. It's I think accredited to a United Nations arm or something like that. When this research started, I just sent a couple of devices, and that is where I left it. I didn't really spend too much time thinking about it. 10 months later, I got this message, where the professor. So again, that's a nice one. When this was taken, 20 professors laughed at it and went away. They said, come on, guys. I said, I have better things to do. There was one professor who decided to back this. So this is
What's his name?
Dr. Peter Kacher.
Okay.
I don't know if I'm pronouncing it right. It's a Czech name.
Okay.
Right? He has published 250 papers odd, and he has also won numerous awards. He's the man. And I know all this now.
So you send JIVA devices to him?
Correct.
Okay.
To the guy who was researching.
And 10 months later, what happened?
10 months later, I got a note from Dr. Peter, which was forwarded to me. They said, we have done advanced studies with water, and the same water passed through your device. And they did studies at nanoscale.
What is nanoscale?
So
for the uninitiated?
For perspective, how many molecules of water, H2O molecules, do you think are there in one drop of water?
No idea.
10 to the power of 26.
10 to the power 26. I don't even know what it is, but
exactly.
It's like massive. One drop.
Exactly. One drop. So now you know what nanoscale might mean, because now we are talking about molecular level. For people who understand science, then it is atomic, then it is subatomic. If you go there, it is a world into itself. But that is where energetics is happening. And they have measured this at that molecular level. And he said, in the case of water passed through JIVA, at a decimal level, the molecules are coming closer to each other.
Okay.
This was measured using near-infrared spectroscopy. These are very advanced studies they have done, right? They have done Fourier transformation, infrared spectroscopy. Various things have been done. Now, first thing, it enamored me because suddenly, this new thing about water came up, which I thought, okay, we don't know anything about water now. So we actually went, so myself, Dr. Krishna, and my head of research, Dr. Abhishek, 3 of us flew down to Prague, sat with the professor. That was a life-changing moment from a JIVA perspective for me, Ryan, where when he told me that this is what we saw, your molecules are coming closer, I asked him, so what? Right? Then he said, actually, Srini, this implies that the intermolecular hydrogen bonding is what they call it. That is becoming stronger. He summarized it as hydrogen bridges, bonds, it can be anything. So I said, so what if they're getting stronger? So he said, Srini, this implies cellular penetrability and hydration. So he said all the hydration you're talking about, our cell's wisdom will allow water to penetrate, right? Only when the bridges are strong. That is why it is hydrating, and hence you're seeing your results. I didn't know that I heard this. This was like outstanding. Then he summarized it. He said, Srini, here is what it is. Hydrate is equal to wetness of the cell. Now, when the cell is wet, it naturally purges the contaminants. Now, when the contaminant is purged, he said, of course, deeper science, there are aquaporins, which are channels, I don't know if you may know it, which is what nutrition, this is what efficiently now supplies nutrition. because the whole system has become efficient. This is the holistic aspect of what is happening through Jiva, in that shortest amount of time.
Hi, Dr. Peter. Heard about your fascinating research on JIVA water devices. How do you think this water can help with nutrition absorption?
Great question, Ryan. First, what is the piezoelectrically affected water? It means that it behaves and piezoelectrically, that it will demonstrate piezoelectric effect. And because the water has also the charges and it's influenced by, I think, the electricity, which is, I think, put it from the piezoelectrically tools, electrically affected tools, it means that there will be, I think, the reaction of the water molecules. The water molecules will behave accordingly, that they will shorten their bonds. It means the water will be influenced by this effect, that the hydrogen bridges will be, I think, shortened. The water will be more condensed. It means there is an increase of the density. How it will influence the nutrition? First one means that there is a, I think, better wetting. Also, I think the hydration of the organism will be better because the aquaporins, I think, because the molecules are closer, I think the wetting of the organism will be better, and it will again help to make, I think, better transport into the bloodstream. This is a nano world, and there is a change of the, I think, a little bit charges because of the piezoelectric effect, and there will be, I think, the influence on the hydrogen bridges lengths, and also all of the properties of the water, which will influence, I think, the behavior in the organism as animals and the human organism. It means that they will influence, in effect, the absorption and the absorption of the nutrients, which will be more effective. As a matter of course, everything in nature has some possible and also some minus. It means that we have a lot of disproofs, but I think the prevailing that when you will use, I think standard doses of the food and nutrients, it means that the effect of the piezoelectrically affected water on a human health is reasonable and can be proved, I think, by all of these points what I mentioned. That's it.
So, this is very interesting because the molecular bonds are coming closer together. Hydrogen is the key name in the game right now.
Mhm.
So, it's takkat.
Takkat.
That's the word that is coming into my head.
So I'll just sorry to
Yeah.
interrupt. So one of my marketing guys, he came up with this: "Pani mein takat, mitti mein jaan."
Wow, powerful.
When you said takat,
Yeah.
right?
The water that we are getting sometimes in our cities could also be dead. And rather than focus on the contaminants and the purification of water, at the basic molecular level, we should ask, is our water alive or dead? Am I right in that part?
Absolutely.
So, as a nutritionist, when I try and tell a person, drink better quality water, up until now, I was like, you know what, you can get a better mineral water from the Himalayas, right? That's level one. But then you want to purify certain things or filter it because of the microplastics or contaminants. Now, what you just said was the channels for detoxification or the channels for water to flow in and out, it has an ability for the wetness of the cell to increase.
So to your let's say clientele, I know the whole world is nutrition, right? So
Yeah.
there's well-being, nutrition, so many supplements, all that. Let me give my 2 cents to the same people. Tons of money is being spent. Depending on who they are, I know the amount of money they're spending. Take a step back. All that you're taking, I am not saying don't take supplement. That's not the gig. How will that get absorbed is basis water. That water needs to have the energetic. Just understand that. We don't have to do too much funda. We have enough proof. We have enough proof what is happening. We have come from the zamana of, right, dial phones and waiting for 4 hours to get somebody on the line, to a mobile phone, you talk to the US. So this is like that. So this is doing its job. We have enough evidence, scientific, user and all that. And you talked about your father, and I know a person who has actually given us the feedback on, he's a dialysis person.
So
And how his urine output got better.
So are there any other cases? Because normally a lot of this you would be conducting research or giving your devices to different professors and all. You talked about the agricultural space because I'm very interested as a nutritionist, because what I feel is that I have to give nutritional supplements because the palak or the maize or the corn or the rice is depleted. And I always thought it was only because of soil, but now you're throwing a new perspective on the life of water. Can you share some light on that?
So look at this like a blotting paper. I'm not talking nutrition perspective, right? Like I said, no wellness, supplements, absorption. So there is water on the table, and let's say you're just using a sponge or a blotting paper, and it just gets absorbed. Correct? You just take a normal paper, does it get absorbed?
No.
Now look at your cell. Where is that? Your cell today is like that normal paper. It is not able to absorb, right? It has to become like the sponge, or the blotting paper. For that, you need to give the right water in this case. And hence it becomes that. So all the nutrition you're doing gets distributed efficiently. And all this, by simply using a device. It's probably the most unassuming cost in the whole supplement world.
What I'm understanding now is that the JIVA device allows water to pass through it by simple gravitational force or the flow of the pressure of the water. And in this, there is an alignment of the water. And that the cell is able to recognize. So because the water now is aligned, it's talking to your cells. So the blotting paper is literally saying that a cell that was not supposed to absorb now is beginning to absorb. So in agriculture, are you looking at any studies which are showing, because I remember looking at your brochure and I saw some crops, and you actually tell people to conduct one experiment, which is water your own plants. So talk to us a little bit about that.
So actually the whole JIVA journey started incidentally from agriculture.
Okay.
2020, when we just first let out our devices for trials, the debate was, where do we start? And I said agriculture, because that is where you're not, so this doesn't get subjective. So you're able to see in front of you, because when you drink water, you don't know what changed, right? You're not seeing yourself side by side. So we said, initial farmers, we said, just do it like a control study. Half your plot just use normal water, half the plot use.
How did you manage to do that?
No, so actually, these are all pump sets.
Correct.
Right? And the device gets connected post the pumping. The water is pumped.
So which one goes to that plot of land? You put the JIVA.
So this soil, plot, divide it into half, just create a small U.
So that would be the big guy over there?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. Actually, I can go there and pick it up. So, okay. These are the devices. So this is my exercise now. So this is about 400 grams. This is the drinking water device. And this one is 3 kilos. Yeah.
Oh, so it's got the thread on it.
Yes.
So this is attached to the industrial thing, and the water will flow through this.
So agricultural pump set, any pump set. So this handles about 9,000 liters per hour.
9,000 liters per hour.
That's like the flow rate of water.
Okay, so talking about the control study.
So
what happened?
So this is connected to the pump set. So water is flowing through this.
Yeah.
So I'll tell you this first feedback that I got, a very, let's say, properly measured feedback.
You remember the study where you did it? Which field? Belgaum.
It's one of the villages in Belgaum.
And what was the crop?
Watermelon.
Watermelon?
Yeah. Watermelon, 6-month crop.
You were dealing in water and you went after fruit which has got highest water content. Smart man.
Like I said, universe, decides what is to happen.
I need to get the name of that farmer because I need to buy my watermelons from him now. So what happened?
So he actually measured in such detail, and he said, sir, what I am seeing, I don't know what is happening here. So he started with the roots. He said, I see 27 roots this side, per plant or whatever. And he said this side, the same thing is 62 roots. Same soil, adjacent to each other, 27 roots, 62 roots. First antenna goes up. Then he said the root length has become longer.
With the JIVA filter?
With the JIVA side, the JIVA fed side. Now that clearly tells us that the soil hydrated, which means the soil allowed, the blotting paper thing, the soil absorbed the water and hence the roots could penetrate. And go back to your basic biology, the root soil, the microbes, the whole rhizomes, all of that develops and hence the root plant communication gets better.
So this was your own experiment with this one farmer. You started the whole process.
The farmer's feedback.
Yeah.
But let me complete this.
Yeah.
So he went on to say, so which means the communication got better, so which means it should have impacted yield. He said it was 6 tons this side, 11 tons this side.
Wow.
5 tons more. The cost per ton is 15,000 rupees. 75,000 rupees, half the plot, half the time, 6 months of a year, right? If you do the math, it is 3 lakhs. Bottom line to the farmer, right? 25,000 rupees was the cost of the device. If you actually multiplied it in 10 years, talking about 30 lakhs.
So that's the shelf life of the product?
Yes.
Okay.
10 years. So after 10 years, we suggest, you change it. So, but the point...
Was the first devices also made of pure stainless steel like this?
It has always been this because this is a global impact venture.
Okay.
And hence, we made sure that everything that goes into us is of the highest quality. So this is for records, surgical grade stainless steel.
So you all had the vision to put surgical grade stainless steel in the first devices, even though you're going into agriculture.
Correct.
And then have you conducted any other studies on other plants?
So today, this was the first one I talked about. I have hundreds of studies done, right? And so if today somebody said that, no, I'm not seeing a change, I'll blindly say that no, something is wrong with the way, something is wrong, in the way he's doing things. That's all. Because we have enough evidence through geographies, waters, soils, different types, different crops. You talk about chilies, you talk about sugarcane, you talk about, you name it, radish. So this is also being done at the GKVK, which is part of ICAR, the Indian Council of Agriculture Research. And we have formal validation of this, that, how the radish output increased and all of that. So it is all there now. So there's nothing. But I also want to talk about this. Given the nutrition thing you spoke about, palak and all that, this may be interesting to you. We got from the Godavari belt, we got a farmer sending us a turmeric samples. So one was turmeric grown with same thing, control studies, normal and JIVA. And in JIVA case, we did a lab test. He sent us the turmeric. The curcumin value went up by 50%. Essential oil content went up. In fact, some of the exporters, when they were standing, when the study was going on, they were like shocked. Are you serious? Nothing added, nothing removed, and just water did all this. But first time, I ended up talking to Krishna. And I said, Krishna, what on earth is going on here? He said, I've seen yields and all that is fine. But suddenly I'm seeing nutrition. Krishna, in his own inimitable style, he just sits back and he said, Srini, first step back in life, right? Think about the cell, which we spoke, right? Cell wisdom. He said, when it is free of contaminant and is able to perform well, it delivers its optimal. So hence, all the nutrition you're talking about comes from the cellular wisdom, not from your making something. That changed my perspective, which links to what I talked about, the channels and contaminants, purging. This is all corroborating. We have enough evidence. We have evidence also in cattle. So milk, health of the cow. We have a buffalo farmer from Ballari who has actually spoken about this, right? And he actually told. So it was interesting. So
all of these are being sold by word of mouth across
right now.
Yeah.
I would so we are also present, which I will talk about. But these are, I'm still talking about, let's say, the first couple of years. So I was there, right? I was in this village about 30-40 kilometers from Ballari. So the owner is sitting in Ballari, but there was a manager, a Bihari manager, who was managing 60-odd buffaloes. We were recording a feedback from him. In Hindi, he spoke non-stop for 5 minutes, not referring anything, nothing. So which means, it was his experience that was talking. He didn't have to refer anything. And he started talking about saying, Sir, oh जानवर है ना आप देख रहा है. So that जानवर, he said, that calf was not able to even stand up. He said, Sir, oh JIVA Water PK. He said, we tried various things. In the 9th month, he said, अभी आप देख रहा है तो कूद रहा है. Same. He said, we had written it off. The power, all I'm saying is the power of water, the power of cell, and hence wellness. That's it. That's the summary. But today we have enough evidence, since we talked about it. We have evidence in poultry, the quality of eggs, the quality of the chicken, the quality of the health of the chicken, that. But let me just tell you something about environment, right? We're talking about ETPs and environment, and STP is a huge problem today in the world.
What is ETP and what's STP?
ETP is effluent treatment plants. STP is sewage treatment plants. STPs you see in apartments and all that. In industry, because of the levels of contamination, most of the governments have imposed saying all effluents need to be treated before giving it to the soil. Right? Now, this ETP water, right, is becoming huge in terms of discussion because to reduce contamination. A study was done in Hosur, right, in an industry. So they gave us a report. So I have that report. While like we said, a lot of measurements, of minerals, blah blah blah. It was all there. Nothing discernible, plus or minus, some 10, something is there. But what he writes below, he said, when we were giving the treated water, effluent treated water directly to the soil, the plants were not flourishing. He said it perished in something like 3 to 4, 5 weeks or something like that. But when it was given, when it was effluent treated water passed through JIVA, he says the plant started flourishing very well. That talks about the world of measurement, the world of life and reality. So flourishing, life is what we are looking for, but we are starting to complicate with measurements. So this proved it. And today, the entire environment industry, ministry, everywhere, we are just saying, whatever treatment is being done, pass it through JIVA. Now, sewage treatment, similar. But very interestingly, so when I was in Prague, you know that Czech is the beer brewing capital,
Yes.
right? So I hardly know much about liquor. I don't drink. But I was taken to this plant where they had fitted the JIVA device.
In Czechoslovakia?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
okay.
This is a global venture. And
Okay.
there are devices across the world. This man, and they don't speak so easily. You know that, right? This man spoke to me for 10 minutes. And of course, I needed a translator. But he went on to say that that device was already fitted there in the line because I saw it. It's there in the picture for 1.5 years, right? And he said, my sludge, so in beer brewing,
You get a sludge.
sludge.
Yeah.
He said that reduced by 80%.
That would have saved him so much of money in terms of washing those
No,
tanks.
he was like so happy. So he said, so I was a little doubtful. I said, no, it reduced to 80% or by 80%. He said, by 80%. And he said, I have not been too diligent. If I was diligent, I think it will come down further. So what does this tell, Ryan? Just think about it as a layman. We are missing something. When energetics of water are taken care of, everything else becomes secondary. And especially this so-called the buzzword of TDS and minerals, there is a harsher side to the mineral behavior. That is more important to understand. When the harshness goes away, the cell takes this and this gets purged. That is the bioavailability of the effective nutrient is taken by the cell. That is what is happening. So hence, we have seen reduction in scaling.
So does this device need to be maintained because the scaling of water, which is the salt deposits, will happen inside this device?
So the maintenance is extremely simple. We normally advise based on the type of water. For example, the Belgaum one I said, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes that is at 5,000 TDS. That's how harsh the water is. But depending on that, between 1 month and 3 months, simple maintenance, lukewarm water, white vinegar.
The vinegar dissolves the salts.
Exactly. And then, that's okay. But then just keep the device inside for 15 minutes, rinse, flush, use. As simple as that. Probably one of its kind device in the whole world that is doing this level of magic with nothing added, nothing removed, no electricity, hardly any maintenance. I don't think, and no consumables. So This sometimes sounds like, out of the heaven, but I think it is. It is just for people to just come up to understanding that we don't know something.
And also, I feel what happens is sometimes we spend so much of money on non-tangibles. I'll give you an example. You go to Goa for a vacation. You'll spend 15,000-20,000 rupees on that vacation. 5,000 rupees of that might be on the stuff that shouldn't enter your body, and then they come to me at the end of the vacation, sir, I have this problem, I have this weight gain. So when I talk to people about investment in their health, over the years, water has been a huge perspective. That fine, somebody cannot control their eating of sugar, somebody cannot control their eating of calories. And like you said, no, I have understood over 2 decades of practice that the body is a self-healing machine. And if you can tap into your bio-individuality, which is the body's ability to heal itself, it automatically does it. So one is to have a great mindset. So I've seen clients of mine who have this amazing mindset to exercise or take nutrition as not as a prison sentence, but a good thing. They get better results. But in that same school of people who are trying to push their bodies, when we add aligned water, we see far quicker results. Let me give you an example. I had a diabetic lady with a stent, and a few months back I put her on JIVA Water, and I have a EGFR readings for the last 4 years now.
What is EGFR?
EGFR is the glomerular filtration rate.
Oh, glomerular filtration. Okay.
So basically, it's measuring the
Kidney
function of your kidneys.
Got it.
Right? And this is a level for which starts, I think, from single digits and goes up to 100. So the higher you are, the better is your filtration rate. And the lower it comes down means your kidney is slowly beginning to malfunction. For the first time in 4 years, there was an improvement upwards of her kidney function. And I know because she eats well, she supplements well, she exercises well, but her genetics say that she's got this polycystic kidneys. So deterioration is part of her aging and genetics. So as a 50-plus-year-old lady, obviously, what information do you give her? Ma'am, this is part of life, you're going to age. But in that, I've seen cellular aging from a perspective of the EGFR improve. Now, is it proof in the pudding that I should continue? My thought process is, this device, you're drinking normal water, pass that water through this. If it's giving you a better improvement, N is equal to 1 for me as a nutritionist. What people do is there scientific proof? How many people in your study? Is it double blind? Is it peer reviewed in a journal? So I am like, yes, that could be for a drug, right? But when it comes to water, the simple experiment I told the lady, start watering your money plant. I just told her, start watering your money plant for 2 weeks. Then if you don't see anything, so she said, no, I trust you. I will start taking it. So I think over here, what we need to understand is that, in summary, you have gone and worked on crops, poultry, cattle, and there is significant ability to see something which rotates within 1 or 2 quarters. Human body is a little bit more difficult, because even if I give you good water in 1 month, how do I track it? But let me tell you how. I have seen people's resting heart rate come down. So I think the reason for me coming into doing a podcast on JIVA was very simple. That if there is an element in health that can improve somebody's life out there, and I hog it for clinical practice in my clinic and not educate the world that this is something you could do on your own. Don't follow a Ryan Fernando diet plan. Don't take NMN supplement. Don't take glutathione supplement because you need my advice and you need to pay me money and all. The simplest thing a person could do is drink aligned water. That would be my advice to anybody after I'm hearing this. So Srini, your device is based on nearly 3 decades of research into water energetics and molecular function, how the alignment influences everything. How does that connect with the creation of JIVA Water, and how is it different from normal water?
I think the science aspect, I think we already spoke about it, but let me just step back. This brings me to giving a quick, download on who is this Dr. Krishna, right? So Dr. Krishna, who's my I should say, no, I am his co-founder. Telling me that I know he's my co-founder is not right. He's the man. So he used the word when I first met him 20 plus years ago, that I spent my life, Krishna's words, researching the non-linear behavior of water. Right? Now, this is what we actually spoke about, the energetics. Now, what is energetics is what I'm coming to. His measurements delved into the world of photonics, right? Molecule, atom, subatom, which is electrons, protons, neutrons. The let's say, the other side of an electron, the energetics of an electron is a photon, right? And photon is equivalent to information, and the amount of light is what is important to measure energy or life. This is the crux. So what he did was he measured a drop of water. This is a gadget, it's a very complicated gadget. Suspending one drop of water, they actually, give a cascade of photons to it, right? Which is all measured. And that cascade, he always says, then they do some scientific studying. The ability of the water's internal molecular structure or molecular alignment to hold, this photonics. That is the scatter. They have measured that the absence and presence of it, right? So it has natural water normally has these photonics. Then he measured that, and then he saw the depletion through over purification, and then he went on to use the devices where this was restored, and we have the measurements with us. Those pictures are already there, right? So this is the background. But also, what is interesting, it is not like one Dr. Krishna who. So the more I got to know him, he has actually shared dais with Nobel laureates. That is his pedigree, right? So I don't know if you know the name Masaru Emoto. Come across that?
Yes.
He's a big name in people who follow water. He has actually even gone and stayed with him. That is the background. So they have all gone into deep dialoguing about water, but Krishna has moved away and led it to bringing devices that are meaningful for direct impact in the society. And hence, I am there with them and we are doing this today.
Hi, Dr. Krishna. I wanted to ask you this question. What led you to spend 3 decades on researching water?
Hi, Ryan. What led me to spend more than 3 decades researching water is actually very simple. Water is the most intelligent and responsive medium of life. Early in my career, when I was studying the biofield, that's the subtle energy that governs all living systems. Every time we measured change, whether emotional, physical, or environmental, there was one constant. Water responded immediately. It stored information, it transmitted energy, it reflected well-being long before the body showed symptoms. That fascinated me. Over the years, this curiosity turned into a mission to understand how water behaves in nature, how it loses its vitality in modern systems, and how we can restore that natural intelligence. My research showed that when water is energetically coherent, everything it touches, plants, animals, people, functions better. So, JIVA wasn't invented in a lab. It emerged from decades of observing water as a living system and asking, how do we bring water back to its natural state? That question has kept me engaged for 30 years and continues to inspire me every day.
So people speak about the honeycomb molecular structure of water, and now you're talking to me about photons and the quantum dynamics of water. Now, for someone outside the science world, how does this realigning make water more biological compatibly with the body?
So the word honeycomb, right? So if you step back, honey is equal to bee, correct? So the bee created a honeycomb. Where did that wisdom come from? First. And honeycomb, we all know, the honeycomb structure is a parlance. Every layman knows it. But scientifically, this is considered the toughest structure to break, right? And if you actually go, I don't know if you know the name Buckminster Fuller. Buckminster Fuller, he created something called the geodesic dome. The Epcot Center in the US was actually built around this. That is also a honeycomb structure. So Buckminster Fuller is credited with this because he followed the the bee, the way it constructs the honeycomb, came up with this whole geodesic dome, and that was considered the strongest. So the relationship here, man discerned it from natural wisdom of the bees, but in nature, this is how it exists. So wherever you need the best of natural impact, come back to water. Water is naturally aligned in this way. When we are saying molecular alignment, this is a honeycomb alignment, right? This alignment is what is important, where the energy is contained inside and it doesn't leak away. But what happens? So this is the hydrogen bridge, the bonding. So what happens is when the water is in this state, then the energetics are contained and is able to deliver it to the cell. So when it gets when it's passing through contamination, they get weaker, and hence the molecular alignments get chaotic. So that is the difference. Normal water, which you're over purifying, finally, if I have to summarize, is equal to chaotic water molecules in your water, which gets aligned when it's passed through JIVA. And that is the beehive, geodesic dome, the structure.
I have a very interesting question on the use of this product. If I do twice or thrice, is there any better alignment of the water? Indian thing, no? You do it once, fair and lovely cream. Paanch baar kar do, it comes good. But is there any research done on more passing through the filter?
One correction here. You use the word filter, right? I want to catch on to that and say this is not a filter. Because actually,
it's a device.
Yes. No, people are confusing themselves with filtering. Filtering is equal to purification, which is like physical. This is about energetics. Post-physical purification, pass it through the device. And this improves the energetics of water. Two different things. Most important, this can be compromised, not energetics. That is the most important.
Valid point.
Correct. Coming back to your question, so a lot of houses are using RO. Now, I'm not going to get into the world of RO. We know that RO is not good, which is, I think, it has been acknowledged. There is Supreme Court judgment, various things were there. Doesn't matter. But we don't get into people's choices. If you are using RO, we advise that you pass it twice. Double pass or connect two devices, which it's like under the sink or something. Connect it to, so water passes twice. Because this is like taking water to a comatose state and then reviving it. So hence, pass it twice and it gets better. But otherwise, not required.
So we talked a lot about people's general health. Are there any studies with JIVA Water on blood markers?
This is very interesting that I told you, Czech Republic, those 20 professors who laughed at this, blah, blah. Today, the number of researches going on there, do you know? More than 20. All these professors are now lined up to say, I will do this study, I will give you this. So, one of the latest things that has happened, coming to a specific answer to your question, is a study has been done on, various things have been done, but on blood, right? They have done blood studies and they have seen changes in morphology and motility. These are the two important aspects, that, right? And they have pictures. So what has been done is, so this was written as a paper for a conference. It's a food conference, right, in Europe. And this has been, whatever reviews, it has gone through it and it has been officially released for the conference as a presentation. This is huge. This is huge because it has been accepted for presentation there. I understand the implication of that is next. In March or so, this is going to be published as a paper in a Q1 journal. Now, this is what we are talking about, that it has been accepted in academia itself, that there's a change in the blood behavior. So the cells are getting more motile, right? What was like stuck up, I understand, I don't know, I may be making a mistake.
Platelet aggregation.
So this is what has changed. And that is helping. This is equal to, I believe, immunity and various things, which is helping the whole wellness aspect of people.
For me, when I look at athletic performance, I remember reading a paper long time ago talking about how alkaline water changes the viscosity of blood. So I stepped back from there for n is equal to 1. If Kenneth Bednarek, who is one of the fastest 200-meter athletes in the world, comes to Ryan Fernando for a diet plan, how do I give him more performance? Yeah, I'll choose branched chain amino acids, beta-alanine, protein powder, coenzyme Q10, clamath algae, all of these things are there. But I have always known that the vector is water. Can I make water better? And that study convinced me to take sports performance into the medical nutrition practice in our clinic. So at Qua Nutrition, I'm one of the sports nutritionists. I've done my clinical biochemistry also. But I have very, very powerful and intelligent dietitians who are in the medical community. So we've got oncology dietitians, bariatric surgery dietitians, we've got dietitians that do fatty liver, we've got dietitians that do pediatric nutrition. And so if you have a medical disease, we plan the diet. And the one training that we have in our clinic is that if somebody is a stent patient, cholesterol patient, and now currently I tell, because the number of incidences of heart attack have gone through the roof, I'm like, whilst you're tracking ESR, whilst you're tracking C-reactive protein, whilst you're tracking all of these things, please understand one thing. If your blood is sticky, it's not flowing. If it's not flowing, the heart rate goes up. If the heart rate goes up, BP goes up. The risk of heart attack and stroke will increase. Now, if you ask me how much and what scientific study has been done on humans to cause a heart attack or stroke, I don't have an answer for that. I'm not even scientifically calibrated or intelligent enough to answer that. Human logic for me is this, that if blood is viscous, it's because the person is not hydrating. If I ask them to hydrate more with foods or water, find the best foods, find the best water. And hence I come to this thing wherein when I saw the JIVA device, I was like, if platelet aggregation can come down, because when platelet aggregates, you get plaque formation, atherosclerosis, and that's the problem we have in India today. So just getting people to drink water that is getting aligned was one of the reasons I said, you know what, let's get this message out. So I'm very happy to know that blood markers are there. And in fact, for the generality of the audience, in the description below, I'm actually going to list pictures and links where you can go and read up on this if you want the scientific curiosity to know more about it. Because I'm sure there are influencers out there who says that I'd like to know more.
So I'm so glad you're saying this, because we have it all. It's just about taking it to the public. And as a nutritionist and as a sports nutritionist, all the terminology is used. That you're saying this, I think, is a big thing. And I think this I'm so glad you're taking it out of society.
So, Mr. Srinivas, I know this is a surgical stainless steel pipe where you pass water through. And it's fascinating that this steel-looking device can bring about changes within minutes. Now, how does that exactly happen? Because I know India is going to be like, "Bhai, ye to pipe hai. Kya kar sakta hai?"
So let me just take this, right? So let me address this first at a deeper science level before I'll come to something else. Is what is happening inside the device. First thing in science is to understand what is the, in a normal day-to-day life, what is the least quanta of time that you always know?
Second.
1 second, right? Now, we know microsecond, there is a nanosecond. 2023 Nobel Prize for Physics was given to a team, I think Pierre Agostini and team, right? Got a Nobel Prize for Physics. This is generation, they found out, so don't take me verbatim, of photonic pulses,
Okay.
right? In 1 attosecond. They captured it,
Okay.
right? So what is 1 attosecond? 1 followed by 18 zeros.
Okay.
So what is the amount of time we are talking about, right? So 1 followed by 18 zeros inside 1 second is where the changes are happening. This is where we are talking about the quantum world. And this is a Nobel Prize paper. But that is how nature has been. Science is just trying to figure it out. Maybe tomorrow they will say 25 zeros, it will go on, right?
So the reaction time.
Reaction time, so let us not even go, reaction time at a very deep level. Okay, that is how it is changing. So anything that is simple becomes easy, right? Oh, one stainless steel tube was doing, what is this? This has gone through 40 years of research. What I'm holding is not like yesterday I started something, just figured something out and came up with something. 40 years of Krishna's life is what we are holding in hand today. And this is deep nature inside this. Now, what is that? If I have to explain the actual phenomenon, it is, we call it double vortexing. So that is how in natural flows water behaves, right? So it's like we have not patented it, but it's like our proprietary technology. Double vortexing interacting with piezoelectric resonant materials, right? So these are again deep science. So when this water resonates with piezoelectric kind of material, then automatically this alignment happens. I've just summed it up in a very nutshell, but this is the deeper aspect. It has gone through a lot of studies of how water behaves in nature, and that is what. So essentially, this is about managing flow properties, aligning with nature, to sum it up. But this is at a subatomic level, how this is done. Nature does it. So typically we call this quantum electrodynamics. And that is the natural aspect of QED we brought into the device here. So actually, if I have to sum this in one word, it is called biomimicry.
What's biomimicry?
So you're mimicking nature, biomimicry,
Okay.
right? Bio is life, mimicry. So nature is life. Without nature, you're not there. You can call it nature, elements of nature or panchabhutas or whatever you want to call it, right? So mimicking that is what the device does, because we have messed things up. So when you mimic nature, it naturally gets back to its original alignment.
Srini, the world is having people like me who are biohackers. We're completely changing our houses. To the extent, not only filtration, but we're looking at water. So whilst the rest of the world is looking in Bangalore like, how can I get better water in my apartment? Is water flowing in my apartment? I'm thinking, how can I get life into the water in my apartment? So this lab science, which you guys have done years of research, decades actually, what's the vision from taking it from the science in the labs to every Indian household? What is all of these devices going to say in terms of a vision?
So actually, it makes my job easy. I think you already pre-answered it. Now that we've already started, the idea is get into every household having their houses become JIVA houses. So every drop of water that is touching the household, I'm just trying to be very careful in the language I'm using, because we've been speaking about drinking water. What about bathing water? So your skin, is the second largest organ in the body. And that is directly connected to endocrine glands, right? And why would you bathe in a water that is not great? So coming back, we have devices that connect to your showers, you connect to your wash basins, everywhere. If it's an apartment, if it's an individual house, outside your tank, it connects. So which means including washing your car, right? Including your plants, your water bodies, whatever you call it, everything has to be JIVA water. And in my house, every drop of water is only JIVA. Because for me, having known this, I don't want anything else to come. So hence, our line is going to be, you can say, biohack your houses into JIVA water houses. Otherwise, let all your houses be JIVA water houses. It is imperative. It is not even a negotiable as far as I'm concerned.
Finally, what keeps you inspired to keep going? And if you could describe your ultimate vision for JIVA water, maybe in one line, what would it be?
What keeps me going? That sometimes I wonder at this point in life. So just a quick one, right? So I ran industry. So this is not like my first one in life. So I'm at 65 now. So I started my first venture when I was 25. Right? Ran industry. It's a listed company today. Ran it successfully, and I exited. That's history. I never thought in life I will start another venture. This has been started as a global impact venture. Now, hence, having seen some of the results that we got through proper on-field validations to academia to everything in the world, given my own, like you said, where do you get your inspiration from? I get it from the universe. But finally, it is 1.5 years back, I had the courage to put my vision out because I believe in visions. I put that out, and my one liner is by 2035, we would want the whole world, JIVA Water, become the default standard for water. This is humongous by any sense of imagination because I'm not talking about water, just for drinking. Then you can say, okay, maybe manageable. I am talking about drinking, bathing, you're talking about agriculture, you're talking about farm, cattle, poultry, fisheries, industry, ETP, STP, the list goes on. Now, so of course, I ran manufacturing for 30 years, right? So I know the gig. We have everything resolved in terms of how we can scale exponentially and have this plan. But that is in a nutshell. So this is my vision, and we have a plan in place. All that is required is the Ryans of the world to stand up for water. That's all is required. And we need to be collective torchbearers to herald this transformation.
So I was already sold on your device within the first week of using it, because sometimes I consider myself a samurai in the wellness space. When you wield a sword, a katana, you know the balance. And using the Jiva Water in the first week, I was like, I still remember calling up 4 of my back foot clients in medical problems, where I know that what 1% more can I do to help them. But obviously, as people say, Ryan, Fernando, you're very expensive. Core Nutrition is a premium service for diet planning, genetic testing, microbiome testing. But sharing information of great products, great services, I think is a universal responsibility that is bestowed upon me. So one thing that I also want to know is that, yes, I'm with you. I love Jiva. I recommend it to a lot of people. I would be keeping a link down below in the description where you can click in it and get a special Ryan Fernando discount coupon. But any other associations that you want the world to know about?
Oh, yeah. So actually, what gave me the strength even to do a vision statement. Reason why I'm stressing on that is a lot of times visions are just laid out, like one sentence. For me, it belongs in my heart. What gave me the strength was one was the findings which I talked about, right? Academia findings, which I thought will never happen. So we are a part of ICRISAT. So ICRISAT is a arm of United Nations. So the ICRISAT so actually, some studies are going on ICRISAT itself on their fields. So already some interim results that they've blown. The point is there was a CGIAR conference, a global science congress that happened, about maybe around under a year back in Kenya. Nairobi. Yeah. So we were among the 2 companies in India invited on behalf of ICRISAT to talk. We were given a talking chance. And we spoke about it. My head of research was there. My head of farming was there. They spoke about this, in that Congress, and it's got a lot of attention in Africa. So these are affiliations that are great. And of course, here goes the next affiliation. But I'm looking for many more, like this to happen, because that is how I'm looking at it.
I think we can make a significant impact because one is, if I take the cost of this device over a decade, it's actually negligible for my health, for my wellness, for my anti-aging. And in fact, I was talking to my wife the other day, and I'm turning 50 shortly. And I asked her, what can we do beyond diet plans, changing people's life, celebrities' life? So one is to help people who can pay us because we are for profit at Core Nutrition. But as Ryan Fernando, can I do something which will change? And I said, could we put devices? Could we put nutrition in school that is better? Could we put gyms in school that are better? And we were working out on a blueprint. And can I tell you something? We actually wrote down in our costing sheet, JIVA Water device for every school. Because maybe we can't get it to those poor slum children and, quality of water. But if there is a water filter in that school, imagine water taking care of the people. And you know that better than me. So let's do this together.
Jiva Water device is whatever you said now, is something that we are already talking. I'm glad you said it. In every gym, every school, the people at the top needs to get sensitized about this. I want to put this out. I think this is a nice statement that you just made, Ryan. For this vision to happen, just doing it bottom up in a conventional way, just being D2C on social media is not going to be the what will take it there. Maybe
We need the top leadership.
top leadership. And who's the top leadership I'm talking about? Like I said, Ryan's of the world. I'm also talking about presidents of countries. I'm talking about corporate leaders. Is it Bill Gates? Is it Sundar Pichai? Is it Narayana Murthy? Is it Nandan Nilekani? Who are these? I want everybody to stand up. It is time. It is time to wake up and then come together, because there is reality. And again, I'm saying that, for a large scale impact, it has to be in millions. But I'm saying we just come back to baby steps. It is nothing in terms of money. 100 devices, 1,000 devices, put it, monitor it, let's monitor it, and we will be there in the sectors. But let us move for that. We were once talking about, some of these branded gyms, and I said owners of that should just transform it across the world. So this is our game plan, and this is what I intend to do as well.
If you had a message to the Prime Minister of our country, what would it be?
Actually, thank you for prodding me into this. I have been contemplating this for a while, and now I think I'm going to be speaking to him directly. And first, thanks for doing this on your show. Dear Modi ji, if there is one Prime Minister in the world who has actually talked about the importance of water, and you use the word jal, that touches me, right? And I don't think people have understood the difference between water and jal. Water is what we have made jal today, brought it into plastic bottles. But jal, आपको मैं अभी दिल से बोल रहा हूँ, whatever we have done at JIVA, it can solve for water to become jal. And this is probably happened by universal guidance. And I want, because your vision is to take it in agriculture, you're saying more crop per drop and farmer welfare. And I will assure you, we have enough evidence that this, just a JIVA Water device, will change the soil fertility, will change whatever you stand for today from your heart. We can make this change. And from this great Bharat, we can take this simple aspect of how we can change the environment by, or at least soil and water, from Bharat to the world. Here it is, JIVA, and I am looking forward, and I request you to take this seriously, and I would be honored to have a meeting and then explain what this is and take it to the whole Bharat. Thank you, and thank you, Ryan.
Jai Hind.
Jai Hind.
Before I let you go, I have a few quick questions. Okay, I know we have had a very wonderful conversation. In fact, my team is going to have a nightmare putting together this podcast because we just flowed like water. We were, aligned water. Maybe it's because both of us have Jiva inside of us. So, rapid fire. One hydration myth you wish people would stop believing.
So just drinking any water is equal to hydration. That is the biggest myth. You need to have the right water. That is what is equal to hydration, not any water. And here in this case, it is JIVA Water.
Top 3 signs your body is dehydrated, even if you drink enough water.
Oh, it is across. So let me talk about in human beings. So as you grow old, you know that, water, the skin's wrinkle and all that. This is all naturally, the water content comes down. Hence, it's important that old people get water. But in a younger age, the coordination of the two hemispheres of your brain gets much better when you give the right water. So these are things, and also for example, terrace gardens or the plants that you grow with water. So even there, using this water helps the nutritional aspect of your plants. So hence, all of this together is the answer.
Googly question. If water could talk, what's the one message it would give humanity?
First thing, I think the water will start crying. Yeah, whatever you guys done to me. He said, just use it to me the way I am. Like a sportsman would say, right? Don't take me to a lowest and ask me to perform. This would be the biggest thing I think the water will say. I don't think it is happy.
What's the worst mistake people make with their water filters?
The worst mistake is just thinking that filtration is the only solution. That is the answer. Because only to understand filtration is like taking bath. You don't take bath 100 times a day. So we're just filtering, forgetting about what the purpose of water is.
One celebrity or sports person you think who really understands hydration, right?
Hydration, right? Or no, I'll probably just digress and answer. I think one is Virat Kohli, right? A name comes. I understand he drinks some special water, right? He talks. I think this is because they take water seriously. The other one, which is a digressed example, is a person like Samantha, right? Now these are two different examples. One will be how they understand hydration better. I am talking about Virat Kohli because while they're all celebrities and of course money is like in abundance, that is secondary. I am talking about the heart and the soul of how they are thinking of water. And these are people who understand water well. And now it is time for them to stand up and understand the transformation. The reason for talking Samantha is I have seen her as a person. I know she's going through her own personal difficulties in health, but she is a person who has always come out very honest and been open to talk about things, which makes it educative. For her to understand that besides, all that is being done for her, important to understand the importance of water, hydration, and what it can do. These are the two examples I would take.
In one word, how does Jiva Water make you feel?
Happy. Happy cell, happy me. So happy will be the underlying word.
One thing your regular water purifier can't do, but Jiva Water can.
Oh, absolutely. So like I've been saying repeatedly, water filter is purification, period. Right? It is not about what water can do. It is cleaning water. Let's keep that very clear. This is completely another thing. This is about the energetics of water.
If someone says water is just water, how would you respond?
Water is just water. It's a perspective that has come from the current understanding of the way they look at water. But ancestrally, to science today, which we have spoken about, there is enough to know is water is just not water. Every water is not the same water. So we need to know what is water as in nature, and that is water.
From all your users, what's the most repeated feedback that you've heard about your Jiva Water?
Oh, there is many, but in terms of human, first thing that has always come is gut health. And we all know that gut health is the seat of many illnesses. So I guess that is where, so it is working at the root.
What's the dirtiest secret about purified bottled water?
That it hydrates. The aspect is it is purified but not energized. So if that got re-energized, I think we have taken. I'm not saying don't purify it, but don't only keep purifying it. That's the biggest message.
Roti kapada makan is Maslow's law of hierarchy. But what I feel is before roti kapada makan, there is pani.
Pani.
So
Jal.
And if 70% of the body can be made better, depression, anxiety, diabetes, hypertension, all of the starting points which are a homeostasis equilibrium inside the human body can be arrived much faster if 70% of you is aligned. And that's my perspective of doing today's podcast. Because at the end of the day, I have the who's who of the world coming to me, paying me the best of consultancy fees. But to find a secret and keep it is not a good thing. To share this with the world is the reason why today's podcast. So, sir, my promise to you today is this, that we're going to try and educate more and more people about the energy of water. Because even a person at the lowest economic strata, if they're given this knowledge and wisdom and maybe access to Jiva Water, what is it? Water should be free. Water should be made free by all governments. And if it can be energetic water, why not?
Absolutely, Ryan. I think it almost looks like you kind of pulled some of the words from my mouth too. We have a lot of these as the corollary visions of what we want to do in life. But to do this, firstly, thanks for saying that, I'm here and I'm going to do this. I will also assure you that I'm with you. So to me, this is not commerce. It is not some business I'm sitting at 65 and doing today. There is commerce to it. It's a for-profit. It's commerce because it cannot scale otherwise. But the point is, like I've been saying, top down. Every single celebrity of yours, it is not about endorsing. It is not about talking about Jiva. It is about standing for a cause which each of them is doing in their life. And there's nothing greater time to start talking about water now than ever. So these people should be the voices that stand up. It is beyond money, beyond everything. And I would encourage you, request you to reach out to all your celebrity clients. Again, I'm saying it is not about endorsement. It's not about whether Ryan is making some money out of this. No, it is beyond all this. Because I think that is negligible, which you also know. But when all of us stand together, I think we made the impact. This is something I would stand with you and be able to take this message across in whatever way I can with you, but request you to do this.
So henceforth, when you meet Ryan Fernando, he's not going to say Viva Sante, he's going to say Jiva Sante. Thank you.
Thank you so much. It's been a
great
pleasure,
session,
Ryan. Yeah,
great
lovely,
session
lovely,
today.
lovely. Thank you.
There are some conversations that don't just inform you, they change how you look at something you've been doing your whole life. And today's chat did exactly that. For me, the one thought that stayed was simple but powerful. Hydration isn't about how much water you drink. It's about water your cells can absorb, use for energy, and keep you feeling your best. Now you tell me, what stayed with you? What was your moment in this podcast? Drop it in the comments. And if you want me to keep bringing guests with stories that genuinely make you reflect, then like, share, and subscribe, because it really encourages me and my team. And if you're curious about the products we spoke about, all the links are in the description. So see you in the next one. Stay blessed, stay hydrated.